Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Brothers and sisters, beautiful viewers, welcome to another episode of Ask Eman, the show, alhamdulillah, that is it's on a weekly basis that enables you, inshallah ta'ala, gives you the opportunity to post and pose your questions to our Shaykh that are in studio with us, alhamdulillah. As you know, the format of the show, brothers and sisters, it is very simple, that all you need to do is call in to the show, inshallah. Call into the studio 0203 515 0769 and ask your questions related to this deen, this religion of al-Islam, alhamdulillah. And we are here able to best serve you in terms of giving you that correct guidance, inshallah, and that medicine from the Quran, the Book of Allah, and the prophetic tradition, which is the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Alhamdulillah, again here we are with Shaykh Imam Wasim Kempson. Alhamdulillah, assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alhamdulillah, mashallah, brothers and sisters. So inshallah the lines are open as of now from 8 p.m. all the way up until 9 p.m. as well. Inshallah we are here for the next hour. So take this opportunity, seize the opportunity to ask your questions, because we are also on WhatsApp. You can send us a message on 0742 239 8833 also. MashaAllah, Shaykh, if you can give us a little short reminder, inshallah, to kick us off.
Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. All praise belongs to Allah. May the peace and blessings of Allah Jalla wa ala be upon His final Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters and viewers at home. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam taught us that whenever there was a shortage of rain for an extended period of time, which would affect everybody, and everybody would go through a very difficult time, that the Prophet ﷺ commanded the Muslims to go out and to pray in jama'ah, to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to alleviate the difficulty that they were going through, to make dua, to supplicate, to remind them to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even in that state that he ﷺ would turn his clothes inside out, reverse his clothes to show an extra level of, of humbleness. The point of me mentioning this is that whenever, as Muslims or as a community or a society, that and especially the onus is on Muslims, I would say, is because we understand how to return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala correctly, in that whatever difficulty we go through, ultimately it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who will help us. And us putting trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should be really the uppermost matter in our minds. And there are many verses in the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about the importance of a tawakkul, or having trust and reliance upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Suffice to mention, if you like, alaysa Allahu bikafin abdah, that is not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sufficient for the servant. So remember verses like this, when at times it's quite easy for us to want to, if you like, put our trust in things or matters other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is something which is quite dangerous for us as Muslims. These other things that are there to help us are a means to help us to get through the situation, but not the ultimate, or the one who is the bringer of good and the protection of any harm. So in any difficulty, as we are going at the moment, it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who is the bringer of all good and the protection of all harm, and that anything that we are advised to do in between that is merely a means. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to be those who trust and rely on Him correctly. Allahumma ameen.
Allahu Akbar, Jazakumullah khair, inshallah. Brothers and sisters, remember, do call in, alhamdulillah. The lines are open. This platform is for anyone, inshallah, so get involved. Call your friends and family as well to call in, inshallah, for those burning, pressing questions. We do have a call on the line. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yes, inshallah, what's your question, sis?
I have a friend who is constantly lying all the time. He's 12 years old and he's continuously lies every day about little things, and I don't know how to deal with him. I have told him that, if you lie, there's the consequences of religious sleep, but it doesn't bother him. He lies about doing salah. He lies about taking money. He talks back a lot. And I don't know how to deal with him Islamically. I have told him, I have warned him against the against, what could happen if, he continues to lie, how Allah is seeing, Allah is watching, but nothing, he's not scared of anything.
Inshallah. Jazakallah khair. We will ask the Shaykh that, inshallah, to give us advice. You can put the phone down at this point, inshallah ta'ala. Is that your only question, sister?
For now.
Okay, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Just any advice on that, Shaykh? The son, constant lying?
Yeah, sure. So, as parents, of course, we have a great responsibility towards our children, teaching them right from wrong, teaching them how to be upright, to be moral, to have a good standard in our lives. And especially when dealing with children, because children have different behaviors. Not all children are the same. You might find with one particular child, when they fall short, you can just simply say to them that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows and watches you all the time, and they take heed of that, and you'll find that their behavior improves. Whereas another child, you may say to them that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears and sees and knows everything that you do, but doesn't really take as much heed for that. So it's upon you as a parent really to kind of go through a number of different ways of, if you like, to chastise that particular child. It doesn't necessarily mean, and I would warn against, because sometimes people could just lose their temper as parents. Maybe I'm not suggesting you're doing that, of course, but we have to be very, very strict with them, and maybe take everything away from them, and take their phone away or take their game time away. This at times may just lead to resentment from the child. Sometimes you just need to maybe sit them down and say to them that, lying is something which is really very lowly trait in any walk of life. If that child, that is the kind of child who's likely to listen to that type of sit down and talk with you, okay, and explain maybe the consequences of lying, that liars, they're never successful, that never they go through lots of problems in their life, and if it's not dealt with early, then maybe it will impact their behavior in the future. So what I would suggest is try to find what you see as what has the most impact on them. If it is to take away certain privileges that they have, then do that. Maybe they listen to that. Or if it means that you need to sit them down and explain certain things, expectations, okay? If it is, it depends on also the type of lies. If it is to gain advantage over other people and to take the rights of other people, then that's of course worse than a person possibly who's lying in a joking way. Something happened and it really didn't happen, okay? So there's different types of levels of lies, if you like. So if it's always joking around, you need to say, oh, there's a time for joking, and we're happy that you can joke, but when you're playing around, try to avoid the lying, and the fun is that much more for everybody. Okay, it's not just you as the only one who's having the fun and the laugh, because the joke is on somebody else. It makes them sad. So it might to get some advice. There's some things that come to my mind, to be honest with you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for you and guide all of our children to what is best. Ameen.
Jazakallah khair. Well, on that point, Shaykh, obviously we don't support lying in any shape or form, but are there instances as people brand types of lies, for example, white lies, or lying for a greater good? What is the position of this in Islam?
So there are times when a person, due to the circumstances, that you are permitted to kind of say something which may not be totally the truth. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned a sound hadith, an occasion when if there's a dispute between two Muslims,
right? Okay.
And you wanted to bring, they're kind of a little bit stubborn. There is an inclination maybe to bring them together. They have on each side is an inclination that maybe if they made the first step,
right,
then you can see some sulh, some resolution. So then you say to them that maybe they will mention some good things about you. And then you say to the other person, maybe they were mentioning some good things about you as well. And they say, oh, really? Which may not be entirely true, but it is with a view to bringing those hearts and those Muslims together, which may be one of the very few, circumstances where a person can distort the reality of what is happening. Another one is that the Prophet said that, in warfare, for example, where you may be defending your land and defending your honor and your wealth and your women and your children, you may say certain things to mislead the enemy.
Right.
Okay. So this is another occasion where you may say something which is not entirely the truth. Other than that, there may be some other circumstances which are very, very restricted. Other than that, we are required to be truthful at all times. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is best.
Now, could we take that even further to say between the spouses, perhaps your wife has cooked something you may not particularly like, but you can offer some.
Yeah, you know, maybe let's say, for example, the husband feels particularly generous and he makes a lasagna and he does a terrible job of the lasagna. It's okay for the wife to say, "MashaAllah, you made a nice lasagna."
MashaAllah. Shaykh, you should try my lasagna. MashaAllah, it is nice. Brothers and sisters, please do not forget to call in. Alhamdulillah, tonight is your opportunity, inshaAllah ta'ala. We will be back after the break. But remember, brothers and sisters, Ramadan is just around the corner, inshaAllah. You can pose your questions if it is relating to Ramadan also as well. Please, for now, inshaAllah, remember to catch us on social media platforms such as YouTube and also Facebook, because it is free, brothers and sisters, alhamdulillah. And also that WhatsApp number 0742 239 8833. And inshallah ta'ala, we'll catch you straight after the break. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome back, dear viewers. Assalamu alaikum. MashaAllah ta'ala, we are back. Brothers and sisters, please do call in, inshallah. This is the show where you get to ask your questions, alhamdulillah, on many different mediums. You can call in, you can send us a WhatsApp, and you can also type your message, inshallah, via our Facebook and YouTube platform, inshallah. That is available, and we are here, inshallah, for the next 45 minutes, and we are also live on Instagram, inshallah, if you wish to catch us there as well, inshallah ta'ala. We had a caller before the break, inshallah, and Shaykh offered some advice. We have another question come through, Shaykh, on our WhatsApp. He's asking, do we have to read Allahumma anta salam in every salah? I'm guessing after the prayer.
Yeah. So after the salah, it's recommended, sunnah, it's good for you to do that. Allahumma anta salam wa minka salam, tabarakta ya dhal jalali wa karam. It's good for you to say that. It's not an obligation. If you didn't do it, you're not sinful. There's no expiation for it. Or if you do it, it's good, inshallah ta'ala. It was the practice of the Prophet ﷺ, something recommended to do. But it's not an obligation. No, wallahu a'lam.
Alhamdulillah. On the subject of supplication, Shaykh, they're saying there's a dua, Rabbi inni massani ad-dur fa anta arhamar rahimin. The questioner is asking, when can we say that particular dua? Is there any particular time? Is it when we are worried from some form of sickness?
This is the dua of Ayyub alayhi salam, is the Quran.
MashaAllah.
And whenever you feel that you've been afflicted with something, because the translation of the meaning is that harm has afflicted me, O my Lord, and you are the most merciful. So if you feel that you've been afflicted with something, this is, no doubt, remembering this particular verse is a means of solace and a means of closeness and relying and trusting and seeking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's aid and help. Wallahu a'lam.
Alhamdulillah, Jazakallah khair. Shaykh is asking, the question is asking that they basically need some general advice. They've been striving to be a better person in their life, but they don't feel that they are. Can you offer some advice on how to do so?
Yeah, okay, so with regards to improving ourselves, then a lot of the time is to understand how to become a better person. This is very important. So if we can break things down, that to become a better person, I'm going to focus on 3 different relationships. Number 1, my relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number 2 is my relationship with all other people. And number 3 is the relationship with myself. So number 1 is to fulfill your obligations and do whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has obligated upon you, and strive to do your best. Try to be sincere. It is not for anybody else's benefit. It is only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, this is number 1. Number 2 is to focus on the relationships with other people, meaning that whatever rights are due to other people, that you give that to them without any delay. You do not oppress anyone. You do not speak bad about anyone. You do whatever is good towards anybody and what Islam has commanded us to do. And thirdly, the relationship with yourself, meaning that you try to stay away from sins, because sins are essentially an oppression of oneself. Okay, so you frequently ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness. You frequently ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help you, to allow you to get through one day to the next, and take one day at a time. And if you like, have a checklist. There's an example that the Prophet ﷺ said in one occasion to the companions after Salatul Fajr, that who gave, or it is after Fajr, it was after Fajr, I believe, who gave some charity today. And then Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu said, I gave some charity. And then the Prophet ﷺ said, who was fasting and who done this and who done that. It was like a checklist. And that the companions would be racing to do these extra deeds. MashaAllah. So on top of your obligations, you try to fill in any gaps, whatever you're able to do. And maybe in a space of a week, you try to add some extra deeds that you can, on top of your obligations, and Allah knows best.
Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair. MashaAllah, we do have a caller on the line. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. You're live on Eman channel. What is your name and where are you calling from tonight?
I don't really want to give my name.
No problem, inshallah. What's your question for us?
Okay, so basically, I'm a divorcee. I have a 3-year-old child. Now, my ex-husband, he sends money to me every week to help me and my son. But the money that he earns is haram. I want to know that, am I allowed to take that money? Will I be punished, or am I sinful for spending that money? Because I'm not too sure. So yeah, that's what I want to know, basically.
Okay. Jazakallah khair. Thank you for your call, inshallah, tonight. Alhamdulillah. You can put the phone down at this point and listen to the answer. Shaykh, any advice for the sister there?
All right. So with regards to receiving money from another person and the means or how that person will attain that particular wealth, there may be occasions where in one it is completely halal, and of course there's no problem you accepting that. And then there is wealth which is entirely how that wealth is earned is haram. Maybe the wealth is stolen, okay? Or the wealth is by buying and selling and taking money from other people. You cannot take any of that money at all. And then there is a type of money which is mixed.
Okay.
That maybe portions of the wealth is haram and maybe portions of it is halal. If it is the case, case number one, if it's all halal, not an issue. If there's a mix with the wealth, then you can accept that money, inshallah ta'ala, no problem. But if you're aware that the money that that person is earning is by stealing and oppressing and achieving in a wrong way, then you can't touch that money. Okay? But there's other two scenarios you can. Wallahu ta'ala alam.
Alhamdulillah, inshallah. We do hope that helps. Alhamdulillah. We do have another caller on the line, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Yes, caller, assalamu alaikum. You're live on Eman channel. Ask Eman.
Hello, Assalamualaikum.
Salam.
Yes, sister, inshallah, your question.
Okay, if my question is basically, say if a person, a loved one is in hospital and they're taking their last breath, like the doctors have said, as the loved ones nearby, are they allowed to read the Quran and any du'as? And once they've, like, if the person then passes away, are they still allowed to carry on reading loud enough for the, obviously the deceased won't hear it, but are they allowed to still read it loud? Or what are the rulings? So whilst they're still alive but taking their last breath, are we supposed to read loud enough for them to hear it? And then once they've died, are we still supposed to carry on reading loud, or should we just read quietly and make dua for them?
Okay, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much for your call, inshallah. And if it is someone dear or in relation to someone, we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to make a swift recovery, inshallah, for all the believers. Allahumma ameen. Shaykh, any advice for the parting people for this life?
Okay, what I would say is that one of the many beautiful things about Islam is that we have guidance concerning all matters, okay? Not just how to pray and how to give charity and how to fast, how to perform Hajj, but especially at times when the situation can be particularly difficult, where us as human beings, we may become quite emotional and we may not be thinking straight. Especially in situations like this, it is very important for us to find what is the best thing for me to do at that particular time. Because it's quite easy for me to lose the way I'm going to behave, wail, scream, do things which really are not going to be the best for myself or that person that I want to help. So, for example, the recitation of the Quran, in essence, is anything wrong with that? No one in the world is going to say the recitation of the Quran is wrong.
Yes.
Okay. However, there may be certain times where you should not recite, and in fact, you're not allowed to recite Quran.
Okay.
For example, if a person wanted to go to the bathroom, it's not allowed for you to recite Quran there, but the person may say, I'm going to recite Quran. So there may be certain circumstances, it not only is not allowed for you, okay, but we need to find what is the best thing for me to do and say at that time. The Prophet ﷺ, sorry for giving an example such as that, but my point is that we want to do the very best for that person who's going through a very, very difficult time, in which the Prophet ﷺ said, indeed in maut, in the death, that there is a difficulty. The pangs of death is something very, very difficult. So you making dua for the deceased is something no problem for you to do. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you thabat. May Allah make you steadfast. These du'as you can do for the person who's going through a difficult situation. The Quran is for you. The Quran is for you. Okay? If you're performing ruqya, this is something else. Okay? But a person saying, I'm donating the Quran to you like this, we say there's no dalil for this.
Okay.
There's no proof or dalil from the Quran and Sunnah for you to do that, okay? But making dua for them, yes. The Prophet ﷺ said, لَقِينُ مَوْتَاكُمْ بِلَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. If you find that the person maybe is dying, try to remind them to say the kalima of La ilaha illallah, if at all possible. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is best.
Alhamdulillah, Jazakallah khair. We're going to get straight to the next caller, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum. I have two questions.
Inshallah.
And
Yes.
my first question is, if you are playing a game that includes gambling, but you do not put any real money in it, are you allowed to play it? And my second question is, if you have a duvet cover that has flamingo pictures on it, are you allowed to use it?
Okay. Regarding your first question, did you say gambling, sort of online games, and you win tokens, but it's not real money? Is that,
Yes.
yeah. Okay. Jazakallah khair. Yes, Shaykh. I would like to know about this, to be honest with
Jayyid.
you,
Okay.
inshallah.
Right. So when we say gambling, whether, and these are words in Arabic, or qimar or maysir, which involves tabadul, or the swapping of you paying money, okay, with a potential of winning something. This is haram, where you pay money, okay? Something that you're not going to pay money is not called gambling. This is not gambling, okay? There's a few things, inshallah, I want to mention concerning this, because it's a very tricky issue. Maybe we can do it after the break, inshallah.
We will definitely, Sheikh. We are going to take those questions after the break, inshallah. Sister, stay tuned, inshallah. Those two questions will be taken directly after the break. Brothers and sisters, please tune in and give your questions also after the break. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. take these first. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. MashaAllah, we had a caller on the line just before the break. MashaAllah, with two really good, insightful questions. We are going to take them, inshallah ta'ala. So, sister, don't worry, they will be coming soon. Before we do so, we do have a caller on the line. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To yourself and Shaykh Wasim Kempson.
MashaAllah. Yes, brother, what's your question for us?
My question is related to Surah Yusuf, in which Yusuf alayhi salam, when his brothers come to visit him, he wanted to keep Binyamin and not let him go away with his other brothers. So he got someone to place the drinking bowl into his belongings and got his searched by the guards and in a way arrested him. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive me for using these words, that it was in a way a false accusation. So I just would like Shaykh to enlighten me whether there is any explanation given to this from the ahadith or the aslaf or shuyukh have commented on this incident.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much, inshallah. Shaykh.
Yeah, I mean, I can't pull off tafsir for the ayah like that, I'm afraid. I'll have a look at it, inshallah ta'ala. Maybe in the next part, we can give something to you, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakallah khair. Very good question.
Jazakallah khair, inshallah. So, brother, please possibly tune in the next show, inshallah ta'ala. And hopefully, if you do call in, again, we can enlighten you a little bit more, inshallah. Put some clarity on that. Brothers and sisters, inshallah, we do have another caller. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. How are you, akhi?
Yes, brother.
Can you hear me, akhi?
I can hear you loud and clear, akhi. Yes, go ahead with your question.
Yeah, I just had a quick question in regards to buying a house, because as we know, interest and mortgages are haram and forbidden in Islam. So I just wanted to ask the Shaykh, what's the best way to go about it? Like whether to look into renting a house or look into cancel house maybe. What's the best procedure? What's the best way to go about it? Inshallah.
Alright, Jazakallah khair. Thank you for calling, inshallah. Shaykh, purchasing properties, is it better to rent or?
Well, everyone's situation is different. Everybody has different abilities to what they can afford, depending on the area that they live in, whether they need to move, whether they need to go. I mean, sometimes they're restricted by the job that they have. I mean, I'm not sure really what to say. It's a very general question. I mean, whatever's best to your situation. Maybe the best thing I can say to you is that if you need, specific advice, is maybe sit down with somebody and you can explain, this is my financial situation. And maybe it's not even a sheikh that you go to be honest, or person of knowledge, or Mawlana or an imam, is to go to somebody who is maybe specialized in financial matters, is to find out, this is maybe the best situation for you for now. Maybe this is the best way you can save some money. And then, maybe move forward in your life. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for you, brother. And for all of us, Allahumma ameen.
Ameen, Jazakallah khair. Inshallah, we do have a question come through, and this was the caller's question, Shaykh, when we was talking about gambling on these online apps, but it's not for actual money, maybe for tokens or some incentive.
Yeah. So as I mentioned prior to the break, is with regards to gambling, that it has specific definitions, and that involves you paying something with the possibility of you winning a prize. Okay, and this comes in, in 1,001 different ways. This is haram, without any doubt, bi-ijma'. Okay, this is clearly prohibited, and there's a consensus amongst the scholars on that. As for something that does not involve you paying any wealth or any monetary input into that we do not call that gambling. I mean, the mechanism that happens is in the form of gambling, but it's not actually gambling itself because you haven't paid anything.
Yeah.
Now, this being itself, you could say on its own, is not necessarily, it's not something haram.
Yeah.
If it's a game, or in which you're playing with something which is false, you're given false tokens that have no value, monetary value, and you win something that has no monetary value, this in itself may not necessarily be haram.
Right.
In situations where that you're given you might purchase an item, and then you can win a prize. Okay, is this gambling? Well, if my intention is to purchase that item and not to win the prize, then it's not gambling.
Right.
If your intention is to buy, as many of these products as possible, you're not interested in the products at all. You might just pop it open, or you open it and you're looking for a ticket and you just throw the product away. I mean, this is something that's not permissible because you're looking for the prize. Okay.
Really.
So with those issues which you might get a free prize, you don't pay anything for it, or something which, you know, the mechanism of gambling is there, on of itself is not haram. However, the person may then start have an attachment to that the games really doesn't satisfy their desire for winning things.
Okay.
So then they up the stakes, where maybe there's an opportunity for you to pay £1, and then you get an opportunity to spend £10 while gambling,
Right.
which exists, by the way. Or you can spend just £5, and we'll give you the worth of something £10.
Yeah.
Okay. So something like this, it is a potential stepping stone. It is a potential stepping stone. So maybe some of, in fact, some of the scholars, they do use an Islamic principle called saddan lil-dhari'a,
Okay.
which is blocking the means, which in itself is not necessarily, there's not a problem with it, but could lead to something
Right.
which is problematic. Okay, especially with the youngsters, the kids.
You're right.
They get into the habit of
Develop
playing these
habits,
kind of games, gambling mechanism games.
Yeah.
Then they might grow up and they actually, I want to. So it's probably best we say that you avoid that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that you don't fall into, maybe you're the one in 50 people who do fall into that.
Right.
So it's probably best you stay away from that and try to amuse yourself or do something which is not going to put you any risk, and Allah knows best.
Jazakallah khair. The sister did have another question. We are going to take that second question, inshallah ta'ala, regarding the flamingos on a duvet and other types of drawings on clothing. But before we do so, alhamdulillah, I believe we got little sister Yasmin on the line. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Oh, sorry, inshallah. Sister Maryam.
Yes,
MashaAllah. How old are you?
I'm 8 years old.
MashaAllah. Just before we do so, did you seek permission from your mom or dad to give us a call tonight?
Yes.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. Yes, what's your question, inshallah?
My first question is that in Ramadan, I noticed some people, fasting, like by the small age, like after your 10, example, like 11,
Yeah.
and you didn't fast,
Okay.
there was nothing wrong with you, and the parents really didn't care, what would happen to him or her?
Okay, mashallah.
And my second question,
Yeah.
there was non-Muslim, and he cared for his parents and sponsored an orphan and did all those Islamic things, but didn't accept Islam, but he did all of these things. Would he go to Jannah?
MashaAllah. Shaykh, the best questions of the night. MashaAllah ta'ala. Fantastic questions, inshallah. You want to tackle the first one first, Shaykh, in regards to the
Fasting.
My mind's gone blank. Fasting, that was it, inshallah. Yes.
Okay, so if a child of 10 or 11 years old wasn't told to fast by their parents, is there anything upon the child? So first and foremost, we have to make clear that fasting only becomes an obligation when you reach the age of puberty, which isn't necessarily a fixed age.
Yeah.
Okay, it could be 12, it could be 13, it could be 14, it could be 11. So if it was below that age and that child didn't fast, then there's nothing on them. They just didn't fast. No problem, inshallah ta'ala. There's no sin. However, it is recommended for the parents to teach and nurture their children and remind them about the importance of fasting, the importance of Ramadan, and for them even to maybe even fast portion of the day for a couple of hours, just to remind them about what fasting is, so that when they do, or when the obligation does come upon them, it's not something new for them. Okay, so this is the first issue. If they were at an age where the fasting was an obligation upon them, but they were never taught, the parents never taught them that the obligation was upon them to fast, and they didn't know. Number one, there's nothing upon that child. Rather, the sin would be carried by the parent. So the parent would be sinful because they did not fulfill their responsibility towards their children in teaching them about the obligations that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed upon them. Okay? So whenever possible in the future, that those days would have to be made up though, because they didn't fast during the time of obligation, so they could make them up whenever they were able to in the future. Wallahu a'lam.
Alhamdulillah, jazakallah khair. And the second part of that question, a person who does not accept Islam but does righteous actions such as looking after the parents, sponsoring the orphan, will that person be admitted into paradise?
Okay, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us very clearly in the Quran the conditions or those people in general who enter the paradise. So from those conditions for a person to enter into the paradise is to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to believe in the messenger Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to believe in the Quran and these conditions. If a person doesn't fulfill those conditions, then Allah, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, that they will not be entered into the paradise. It's not my words, rather matters of the hereafter are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So a person may do good to people and Allah Azza wa Jalla may reward them in this life, but in the hereafter that they will not have their reward. Wallahu alam.
Allah, mashallah ta'ala. Sister Maryam, are you still on the line? Are you still there, Maryam? Oh, she's gone, inshallah ta'ala. Brothers and sisters, please do send in your WhatsApp messages, inshallah. You can remain anonymous. It is not a obligation to put your name forward, inshallah ta'ala. And the number to do so is 0742 239 8833. Alternatively, you can call into the studio, inshallah. Post your questions there, inshallah. As for now, we're going to get to you straight after the break. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome back, dear viewers. MashaAllah, we've had a number of callers call through, alhamdulillah. And if you are still waiting on the line, inshallah, we will get to you shortly, inshallah ta'ala. If you just bear with us for a few more minutes, bi'idhnillah, we will take your call, inshallah. Sheikh, before the break, we had a sister, a two-part question. The second one was regarding images or drawings on duvets or clothing and things like that.
Okay, so anything which has a soul, pictures of human beings or animals and things like that, really shouldn't be displayed, whether they are on the duvet or pictures on the wall. So these things really should be avoided. Naam, wallahu alam.
Jazakallah khair. We do have another caller on the line. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. You're live on Eman channel.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, brother. What's your name?
My name's Azim.
Mashallah. What's your question for us tonight?
So my question is, let's say if you come out of a ignorant lifestyle and you then invest into personal development and you become obsessed in the whole transition with your life, with your lifestyle, from coming from a life of jahiliyyah to a life of maybe piety or righteousness, does it become a sin if you invest more in the personal development but losing sight of deen at the same time?
Inshallah. Okay, Shaykh, any advice for the brother?
So what I would say is that personal development is very important, to have certain goals and things that you want to achieve, and having a special focus on that in one's life isn't necessarily a problem. Now, if a person, or as long as a person is fulfilling their obligations, this is, if you like, the threshold of where things become permissible and impermissible. So if a person is engaging in some extra activity during the day and it doesn't impact their obligations with regards to their salawat, their prayers, with regards to fulfilling their rights of their parents, for example, okay? And that in the other time that a person wants to focus on some, self-development, as the brother mentioned, then essentially that's not a problem, as long as the type of self-development that you are learning and engaging in doesn't go against Islamic principles. Okay, so the first thing is that as long as it doesn't go against your Islamic obligations, number one, then it's fine. And secondly, that how the development goes is that none of those principles are, against Islamic kind of teachings. As long as these two conditions are fulfilled, then that's not a problem, inshallah ta'ala. Wallahu alam.
Alhamdulillah, jazakallah khair. Inshallah, brother, does that answer your question, inshallah?
Yeah, it does. Thanks so much.
Khair, inshallah. Take care, akhi. Hopefully hear you soon, inshallah. We got another call on the line. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum, caller.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much for allowing me to ask the question. Shaykh, I would like to first make a dua to Allah that Allah accept it from us all. And I would like to ask you about premium bond. Is it allowed for a Muslim to buy premium bond or to present somebody like grandchildren or nephews and give them like a saving, buy it from post office, or is it considered gambling? That would be one question. And if you'd allow me, I would like to ask you another question, which would be, when you are like doing a good deed or you are making a sadaqah donation, is it permissible or is it good or sound Islamically to make the intention that I'm making it intention not just for myself but for the behalf of all the ummah? I want Allah to be, because Allah is so generous, and if Allah gives, nothing is going to decrease from Allah's kingdom. So, oh Allah, give it to all the people, faithful people. Is that okay? That's what I wanted to know. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam. Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. Yes, Shaykh, premium bonds.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So premium bonds is a scheme where you invest in purchasing these particular bonds, and that they're worth a certain amount.
Okay.
And that, let's say on a monthly basis, that they will draw lots out, and that if your numbers come up, then you may earn a certain amount of money.
Right.
So in that sense, it's a kind of gambling.
Right. Okay.
Although you can withdraw your money and bring it back at any time, because of the issue is that you're paying money possibly to win, it goes into a situation, it's a form of gambling. And other scholars have mentioned it's kind of a type of usury loan in that you're paying into a scheme or paying into something which people will earn money on top of the money that has been put in there.
Right.
So for two reasons, really, it's not permissible for us as Muslims to purchase premium bonds, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is best.
Okay, mashallah. And the second question was in regards to donating sadaqah or charity on behalf of all of the believing people.
Yeah, so with regards to giving charity, first and foremost, that when you give charity, inshallah ta'ala, you are the primary benefactor in giving that charity, in seeking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's reward. And then, of course, helping that particular individual or project or whatever the case may be. If when giving that charity, that the person says that I give this in the name of the ummah of the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, then Allahu alam concerning the permissibility of that. I mean, there's nothing to prohibit it as such, but first and foremost, it is a, you're the benefactor, you're the benefiter, or the one who benefits from giving that. If you want to do it in the name of a person who passed away, and you could also do that as well. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is best.
Alhamdulillah, Jazakallah khair, Barakallah feek. Thank you all for calling in, inshallah ta'ala. Remember, you can catch us on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and also Instagram, mashallah, on social media platforms. So do check us out there, inshallah. We do have another caller. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Yes, your question, inshallah.
Yeah, so my question is regarding inheritance. If a father passes away, if a man passes away and he leaves behind children, and one of his sons and grandchildren, he leaves behind children and grandchildren, and one of his sons has passed away before him, would the children of his deceased son, would they get a portion of the inheritance? Like if he had two daughters and two sons, one of the sons passed away, would that be divided? Would that the grandchildren of that person be taken into account or not?
Yeah. Inshallah, we got your question loud and clear. Is that your only question, sister?
Yes, Jazakallah.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you for calling in. Shaykh, did the grandchildren get a portion of the inheritance?
Okay. So the question is that there is an individual who passed away, had two sons and two daughters. These sons and daughters had children. Now, if one of those children dies after their father died.
Right, after.
So the father dies and there's 4 children alive.
Okay.
Now, during the time where before the wealth is shared out, okay, let's say one of the sons dies.
Right.
Does that mean that that son's share who's now died, who's passed away, does it then just go to the 3 of the remaining son and the 2 daughters? Or that son who passed away has some grandchildren? Will they then inherit?
On behalf of
Right, so what we would say is that person who was alive when his father passed away, it will go to him.
Right.
And then his wealth will be then distributed accordingly to those who are closest to him. Okay? So his share will go, although he passed away, will still become part of his estate and is distributed to his relatives.
Did you say, is that after the person's passed, after the father's passed away?
So his father passed away and then the son died.
The son died.
Even though the son died, the wealth still goes to him and is still distributed to his close relatives.
Right.
Okay?
Is that the same ruling if it was before the...
So if, for example, the father, he has 4 children and one of his sons passes away. So then the father dies. His wealth is distributed to his 3 children and any other family members that may be close to him. You have to work it out. It depends on who's alive.
Inshallah. Jazakallah khair. We got you loud and clear, inshallah. Do we have another call on the line? Assalamu alaikum. Inshallah. Okay, we'll get straight to the WhatsApp questions, Shaykh. The question has come through. It's saying, can a married woman with a bald patch on her head and her hair is thinning elsewhere, can she wear a wig indoors?
Okay, so the wearing of wigs is something which there are narrations to say that this is not permissible. Although no doubt if a person is afflicted in this way, no doubt is an ikhtibar, is a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask Allah Jalla wa ala to make it easy for you, to give you patience. And she said the sister, she's married. Yeah?
Sorry?
The sister said she was married?
Yes.
Yeah.
Married woman,
so, I'm sure that, and it should be the way that the husband should be understanding. As he married you, the way if there was a point in time where you didn't have this, He loves you and supports you during that time, and also at the time that you're going through some difficulty now. There is some solutions for this. For example, you can take some hair follicles from other parts of the head, if this is a solution. If it may not be a solution for the sister, but if it is possible for her maybe to look into, of course you seek the necessary kind of professional advice on that. You can use hair follicles, which will may help the hair grow in these places. Now,
would that be the same with hair extensions, Shaykh, or does that?
Yeah, hair extensions. Then this comes under the ruling of wigs.
Wigs, okay.
Which is something which should be avoided. Wallahu ta'ala alam.
Alhamdulillah, Jazakallah khair. Brothers and sisters, that brings us to the end of our show, inshallah ta'ala. We are here also tomorrow between 8 and 9 p.m. inshallah. So please catch us then. And you can post your questions, inshallah. Sorry if we did not get through to all of your questions that you posted through on our social media platforms. We will do our best, inshallah, to get through them, possibly on tomorrow's show, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Remember, brothers and sisters, with asking about this religion, there is great rewards, because you get to get a closer understanding to Al-Islam. So we'll catch you inshallah tomorrow. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.